Okay, so we're still making progress on the arcade cabinet. I'm working on some control panel layouts and whatnot, and we're waiting on some parts. But in the meantime, we got to get a PC in there so we can run emulators. So this is the machine I've been using for my emulators. It's just an old computer of mine that I put inside of a home theater case, and it works, but I've been having some problems with it randomly rebooting. I think because it's overheating. There's not really enough airflow in this case. And if we take a look inside, you can see that the wires really are, it's cramped, okay? And this is like a passively cooled video card, so there isn't really enough airflow, and like a single PCI card blocks off this whole section, so this just bakes and eventually it overheats and reboots, and these fans just aren't adequate enough. So we got a new case. Okay, this is the Alpha DB6 bench case from DIY PC. It's basically just a slab of plastic with some holes in it that you can screw all your computer components to, and it's got some vertical bits to hold your hard drive and whatnot, and everything's just exposed. So that's going to work out just fine because we're going to put it into the arcade cabinet. I have scoured the internet, all the tubes, and this is the only bench-style case I found where all the components are laid in a line. So it's going to be like motherboard and power supply, which is the only way it's going to fit into the arcade cabinet. There's a bunch where they stack them up, but like a cube is not going to fit into the hole we've got. So hopefully this works, because the other alternative is just we're going to have to make something ourselves. Okay, we got it together and the computer still works, and heat really isn't a problem anymore, but structural integrity is. This whole thing is made out of laser cut acrylic. It's slightly thinner than the material I use for the bezel, and it's got a huge amount of weight attached to it with all these computer components. So like when you pick it up, it flexes, and you can hear it squeaking because like their parts are just sort of wedged together. They're not really securely held. Like, it really needs some sort of cross member that slides in and makes the whole thing rigid. I don't really think they knew what they were building when they made this thing, because they give you this this set of white gloves here. I presume so that you don't leave fingerprints on the acrylic. There's like a matte side and a gloss side to the acrylic, so you could flip this over and have everything be gloss. But there's no way you're going to make like a gleaming showpiece out of this thing, because you have to mount the power supply vertically, and there's no place to tie down the cables, there's no place to hide them. So you're just gonna have to have, like, even if you removed all the excess cables, like you went in here and desoldered everything, you still have this giant bundle of cables that you have to like zip tie somewhere. So it has to be utilitarian, and it isn't due to the weakness of it. I think we're gonna have to we're gonna have to go to the hardware store and improvise something, I think. Okay, so I had this piece of plywood laying around from another project, so I picked up some miscellaneous screws and brackets and stuff, and we can attach our computer components directly to this piece of wood. I also picked up pieces of wood here and some drawer hardware, right? Drawer slide there. So the way this is gonna work is we'll put our piece of wood in here, and we'll attach it firmly. Although it wedges in there, and then we'll mount our drawer hardware on there like that, and we'll be able to slide the computer in and out on a nice little drawer. So I'm going to mount the drawer slide to the piece of wood here first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to center punch the appropriate holes, and then drill a pilot hole and get everything mounted. So then we can just mount it all as a unit inside the machine where it's going to be awkward. These are the screws that came with the drawer hardware, but I'm going to go with these guys, which are a little bit beefier and a little bit longer. it's always good to overbuild. And also, we've got a bit of a problem where, you know, this is all like odd measurements and stuff, so our stuff doesn't quite line up. So we need to offset the drawer a little bit to close the gap. So I just put it in a little, I don't know what this actually is, but I had it left over from something, so I'm going to use it as a little spacer and just put it in there like that. So then when we screw it on there, we got a little bit of an offset to close up the gap. Okay, we've got our drawer rails mounted on our pieces of wood. This goes in the cabinet. This goes on the other side. And then we've got the other half of the rails mounted on our board, which is going to go, is where our computer goes. And I made a little bit of adjustment here. I've got the big spacers on one side, and then I've just got smaller washers on the other side, because it didn't quite fit with spacers on both sides. So now we're going to do the final fitting. So using only a little bit of duct tape there, we've got everything in place, and we can see that everything pretty much fits, and that we're ready to make a more permanent attachment. And just double checking the nail and screw length here, so we can see that it is long enough to go into the exterior board, but not so long that it'll go through. Alright, we've got our rails mounted in there. Let me take our shelf. Works great. Okay, it's finished. We got all our parts just screwed onto the wood there. We've recycled the plastic parts from that bench case and just used a bit of angle aluminum to attach them to the wood. We got the power and reset switch and the LED from that case as well, and everything still works, and it slides away very smoothly.